Awesome.
So kia ora, I am honoured and blessed to be here with you, Saddanta, for this deep delve into your whakapapa, whetu, your star lineage. And yeah, thank you for coming on. It's just awesome to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm honoured. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so I always like to start this way when I've got someone who is pretty switched on, aware, and intuitive. Could you just click we'll just slow down the pace of where we're going to go, because it's going to go fast. We're going to go into the galaxy.
Beautiful.
And if you could just, like, if it's okay with you, if it's okay to close your eyes and just tune into what you feel. And then as you just tune in, generally a couple of questions or a nudging or an urge will come through. And that's going to help me probably more than you. So when you are ready, just come out and hit me with it.
My grandfather came through. He's been he came through yesterday quite strongly. My grandfather from Kaikoura as well, where I was born, and he's rangatira. He's was regarded as a chief. He helped get the whare up in Maru Kaitatia, our whare up there on the marae, and he helped getting that established. And myself and my beloved are feeling this weekend we're going up to Kaikoura to do a bit of work on the land and some clearing. And there's a lot that's taken place in that little town. Some things that weren't particularly helpful for the children, and so it's interesting that Granddad's energy came through as I was taking someone on a plant medicine journey yesterday. He really came in, and I felt I was embodying him, his energy, his modi, his presence was really, really there. And it's just really that it's coming up, and Kaikoura is calling me out again, and I feel there's some work there to be done. Also, someone sort of brought to my awareness my avoidance of using my voice. So that was coming through as well. So it was kind of the things that came through as you had me closing my eyes was first a kind of like a center point of light was right there. Then I
in your matakati, in your
and then I felt my grandfather's energy come in and kind of envelop me. And then this kind of reminder of my voice again, which is really interesting because I have a real struggle with te reo Māori. Every time I try to learn it, it escapes me. It kind of goes, it's gone. Oh my God. And yeah, I really would feel so much more confident in this interaction with my whānau and wider whānau and looking into what I'm here to do. I know what I'm here to do, but I kind of fudge around a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, well, tēnā te mihi nui kia koe, no mai haere mai, tātou kōrero mihi aroha ki te atua. I didn't know that you were Maru Kaitatia, and I know a lot of your whānau and really love them, and have been blessed to work with Mangamounu and at your marae, your whare. So that's really, I didn't know that, and that's so cool, and I'm really pleased that your Paua Mātua, what is his name? Oh, we got a little freeze. Your granddad froze the screen.
Whoops.
I love that.
Yeah.
I said, what is your granddad?
Yeah.
Or Poa froze this screen. What is his name? Poa.
My granddad's name was Eddie Reardon.
Right. Okay. That's awesome. It's really, we'll bring him in. So just with that laying of the ancestors and who you are coming to be, what do you know about astrology and why are you drawn to understand more about your own whakapapa above the universe?
Well, I know there's no separation. There's no such thing as separation in the universe. And so everything that's happening out there is also happening in here. And so it's a fully interconnected network of this expression that we call life. And I see that more and more because I take people on plant medicine journeys. Oh my gosh, I see it all the time. It's just separation. Everything has everything to do with everything. And so, if I wanted to, I could look into my coffee grinds and get some information out of that. So we can look everywhere if we're willing. I see it in the bugs, I see it in the birds, I see it in nature. It's everywhere. And so I haven't delved far into the planets and their effect on us and our effect on them. And so I'm intrigued by it because I know there's no separation there. So I'm like, I need to really know this. Yeah.
So, when someone's starting, the two things that first thing I can recommend is stand on the whenua and look up to the sky and ask for guidance, because it all starts from our place on the earth, and it's different. Like astrology is the mind consciousness of the celestial being, so not just the planets. So it's from our place on earth, and it's what we receive, and that is already, this. It's just maybe not with your conscious mind, and when you ask, it will come as a knowledge stream. And you've got to remember that our people navigated the Pacific with the stars, not the planets, not the sun, not the moon, the stars. So that is waiting. They are waiting for you to call them in. And that's a big part of my practice is the whole sky. So astrology is the mind consciousness, and it is the quality of sunlight, which are reflected by the planets, Starlight, which is all of our ancestors, and He Marama, moonlight, which is the Maramataka. So we have those three systems that interplay through. And what they do is they give us a birth chart when we're born, when we take our first breath, but it's the whole sky, everything. And it's Te Kori, and it's the black holes, Sagittarius 27 and Messier 87, Virgo 29, I think the degree is. So it's this, and they shine light at us, dark and light, and cyclical. It's all the seasons. So that's what's going on. And you have this sort of snapshot, which is your probable frame of, and I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see this. So it's your probable frame of energy. And it was such a pleasure to read your chart because people contact me in the season of, whatever's going on. I get this, people contact me during the season of the starlight, so it's it's just so classic because we're coming into this Mars retrograde and it starts on the 30th of October, and I don't know if you've been feeling it, but it's a big, big energy. And your chart, Mars is a ruler for you because I'm going to tell you in a minute why, but so it's almost like you needed to know this before Mars retrograde. And I was just laughing and giggling so much because it's as you said, there's no separation, and whether you ask for it or whether you get knocked on the head, it's there. There's no difference.
I feel like I've been getting bops on the head lately. Especially this month. It's just been boop, boop, boop. Oh my gosh, okay, that's fine.
So, can you tell me what you know about so far about your own astrology? Because this is going to be cool. I'm making notes as we go.
Yeah, I don't really know a lot, to be honest. I've kind of looked into it, and again, it's one of those things that have kind of eluded me because I have always felt I need to have this done correctly. And it wasn't till Jo mentioned you, and she said, and I trust her. I mean, she just is so onto it. She's a beautiful human being, and she said, "Oh, my God, she's so onto it." And when she mentioned you, I was like, "Yes, all right, I'm in. Let's do this." Yeah. So I don't know a lot.
Okay, well that's good. So there are kind of three elements, which are our outside self, our emotional self, and our I guess our fuel, our heart, kind of, which is the same as and they're the three elements. But I'm going to walk you through the whole chart. But so you know that you have a Scorpio sun because you share a birthday with everyone who's born on the 13th. On the 6th. I blanked out your data so that no one can. So that's why I can't see it there on the 6th of November. So you know that you may not know that you're 13 degrees of Scorpio, and the degrees, like if they're in the middle from about 12 through to about 19. They are the movers and shakers of the sign, so they agitate the sign of Scorpio. Okay. The other thing you need to know about Scorpio is with our Pacific flavor, it's actually not. We don't have scorpions. We're not going to get bitten on the bum by a scorpion, so we don't have the same hang-ups as the Northern Hemisphere astrologers. Scorpio is the realm of Maui. And Maui was the greatest entrepreneur that there is. So he delved into the Te Kori and pulled up the fish, the North Island, with a hook. He went down into the underworld. He's not a scorpion. He is an ambassador of Rehua, which is the biggest star, and Tares, regarded in the Northern Hemisphere with, but down here, it's actually a real gift to have that flavor, because the entrepreneurialism of our ancestors meant they could navigate the Pacific and go where no one else was going to go in a little outrigger canoe. So we have to change this dialogue based on our whenua, and your whenua being Kaikoura is such a incredibly special place that you got to celebrate the stories that go with the stars and with the sun and with our maramataka and understand those.
Beautiful.
And I'm sorry if you hear any background noise. We've got a renovation going on downstairs.
No problem.
So I've got to bring in our world view. So when I said that when we see astrology, which is the thought consciousness of the celestial beings from our place on Earth, so we are the opposite to the Northern Hemisphere. So they start over here with Aries, and I'm going to talk about this. We're on the 21st of March at the start of the zodiac here, but for us, that's not spring. So it's almost Saddanta, that we are naturally bipolar. So we have the polarities, like they are so there. And when you get to know this, you would understand that Scorpio here is more Taurus. So you're actually more well, you're Scorpio, so you rule the realm of healing and entrepreneurialism and transformation and loss for transformation and intensity. But you have that lovely Matariki, Taurus. So all the stars of Matariki are in Taurus. And that's the Pleiadian. I don't know if that resonates for you.
Yep.
Okay, so that's why, because you're both Scorpio and Taurus at the same time. Right. Because your Scorpio flavor is actually in autumn in the Northern Hemisphere, but for us, it's spring. Yeah. No. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. I mean, I just crack up at at Christmas time when we get these pine trees out and decorate snow and stuff on them, I'm like, why don't people have a pahutakawa and put jandals and barbecues on it? You know, it's like Christmas here is winter, it's summer. It's Western. It's bringing in that Western mindset.
Yeah, it's just bringing back our Indigenous knowledge, and that's why I'm so passionate about, reading people's charts with them and sharing them, is to actually show people that we can be discerning in what we choose to brainwash ourselves with. I know you know this. As a leader, as a teacher, as a quantum practitioner, I know that you know this. So, but I think it's that's so important, is to say that. So while you are, and if you look over here, we'll just start with your sun sign, which is 13 degrees of Scorpio. So you're a mover and shaker of the healing and transformation space, and we know that with your work. But your energy is in the 7th house, and I will explain the houses so you understand all of them, and I'll do that really briefly. But you've got 3 planets here. See? So that gives you it's called a stellium, and it's like a concentration. So this whole chart, your whole circle, is a map of the sky. If you can imagine the sky is like that. So this is the east, ascendant. This is the west, descendant. This is the line of consciousness. So it's how you think. And you're always flipping between your rising sign and your descendant, which is Aries and Libra. And then this is your power line. This is your whakapapa line. And I would say this is your granddad here. Did he have a strong Leo influence? When was his birthday?
Oh, I can't even remember my grandfather's birthday, when it was. He was a beautiful leader, incredible leader, but he was very quietly spoken. Yeah. And hugely respected. For years, even after Granddad passed, people in Kaikoura would go, "Oh, you Eddie Reardon's grandson." Do that. Well, you could see him in you. Yeah. And so
so if you just gave me another clue there, because if you there he is there, and I also just want to put, because you see, the thing is that people only know their sun sign, so he could have had this Leo, but Leos are for, what happened here? I'm disappearing. Leos are for leadership.
Yes.
I've gone and done something with my screen and lost your chart. Where did I do it?
I do teachings online, and I have these things
happen. Little clicking and things disappear. Yeah, so this is that is here. So this is your whakapapa line, your IC, up to your midheaven. So it's like you drag whakapapa all the way through to your midheaven, and you can see here, down here, we've got on your IC, it's Cancer, which is roots and our sense of belonging, and you're dragging it up here into Capricorn, which is the system of making things solid and building. And so your midheaven has this real Capricorn flavor, because systems would make is your highest physical expression. And the reason why you can build systems is you have this hugely rich lineage, whakapapa. You have lineage. You're never just you. We know that all of our ancestors are here all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like I can see them all. Not that I can see, but I can see and feel. You've got like a whole blinking tribe right behind you.
Yeah, I do feel it at times. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there's Granddad. As any planet that is right on our IC, and particularly if you just said, I look like my granddad, so I would say there he is there. And that's why you came through, because like there is no separation. And he's like, hurry up. And also look where the moon is. So outside, so this is your chart when you took your first breath. And what I've got mapped around here, and astrology is just represented by symbols. This is what's going on above us right now. So see this little moon here. It's like full triggered. His granddad, he's like, hey, I'm in your heart right now. I'm just going to remind you that I'm there, and I'm there for you all the time. And here I am down here, and you said he was a leader. Well, Leo they lead the pack in terms of their skills to as rangatira for rangatira-tanga. So there's, I'm just going, oh, it's so cool. I love it when the ancestors come through.
So nice.
So east to west is the ascendant, so birth to death or birth to Passover, however, whatever your views are on that, and adolescence to midheaven. So this part of your life is about really putting in place systems. It's your midheaven governs your work house, which is the 10th house, or your public house. So Capricorns are really incredible society builders, corporation builders. They put down the fundamentals of government, of any kind of big structure which represents like an outworking of the family. Or so we say whānau is the word. Lots and lots of families put together. They're real tribe builders. So I don't know if that is something that I kind of just know a little bit in the background and kind of know that you do connect big groups of people.
I'm very much myself and Debbie are both. We spend a lot of time building community, and it's growing, and it's a space of healing, and it's very eclectic, and there's people of all walks of life. There's no, we're not into any sort of preference or anything. It's as much as we just want there to be no discrimination, that everyone has a right to heal. And so that's the community that we're wanting to build. And one thing I think about my grandfather that I certainly feel in my genetics and my DNA almost is he passed over with nothing. He burnt everything out. He would, I remember as a child, he would take me to the dump. He would go and find a toaster, a bike, all these things at the dump in Kaikoura there. Then he'd take them home, fix them, and then go around the families in the community, because if he knew someone needed a toaster, he'd fix it and go give it to them. And if someone needed a bike, he'd fix this bike from the dump. It didn't cost him anything. It was just his time. He was so resourceful in giving people resources. It's like, it didn't cost him anything. It was just, it was him. One time he picked up a hitchhiker who said to him, "Oh, I love your shirt." And so my grandfather gave it to him. So he literally gave the shirt off his back. It was, amazing man, incredible.
Incredible man. Well, he's very strongly, and you know this because he came through, and is accessible, like you, and we'll get into some of, because you also identified something that you're working on. I'll give us a bit of a, when I've done the structure, I'll give you some tips on how you bring in that whakapapa, because I think it's all here. Like, this is your map of probable energy, like everything is there, and the universal law of free will, our first law kicks in. You have to ask. You have to ask, and you have to maintain enduring faith that the answers you're getting are right. And that's hard, because we're like, second guessing, but I want it to be this way, but no, surrender some more.
I know. Yeah, the ego is funny like that.
Okay, so I think, what else do I want to, do you have any questions? I know I've hit you and I've got more to hit you with.
Oh yeah, no, this is fantastic here. Very, very much soaking it up. Thank you.
Cool. Well, you're going to have the recording. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Watch it slowly if you have a question. Okay, so this I don't know if you've had this explained, but so the line of consciousness is the line of the horizon, right? And so everything under the horizon we can't see it. And generally it means nighttime, but because it's all cacked up here, and if you look at your chart, so your birth time is translated to 21:46. Did I get that time right? Because I can't see. When were you born?
I was born
10
November, 6th of November,
10 o'clock.
1975 at 6:15.
6th of November at 6:15. I better check this. because I might have, okay, just 6:15, you were, just let me look, I got to look at that. You would know, because I may have, because in our group chat, I want to make sure I've got this right, because if I have got a mixture, because I'm doing Debbie as well, if I've got a mixture.
Debbie should make sure I sent mine correctly as well. Oh, there we go.
6 Kaikoura, November.
Yes, Debbie was 10:20.
Yeah.
Mine is.
Hang on, I'm gonna just wait one moment. I'm gonna stop that and just stop that for right. The astrologer is getting her shit together. That's the only way we're going back. So what I was reading up here is the transits. I wasn't reading your birth time, but basically this area here, the sun on the horizon when you took your first breath, is your rising sign. So we know, there we go. Now I've got Debbie's chart.
Oh, that's Debbie's chart.
It is Debbie's chart. Here we go. So we know the sun on the horizon. We've got your sun, which is what fuels you. It's your source of fuel. It's how you're driven, essentially, to and what you're motivated by, which is healing and transformation. Here, a sun on the horizon when you took your first breath is in Aries. Aries at 21 degrees. So you're coming into the mature of the Aries. So Aries is the first house of the zodiac, and traditionally in the Northern Hemisphere it's spring. For us it's autumn. So you are an Aries, so you're probably more Libra, and it's a really interesting thing that I notice with Aries down under, because generally Aries are kind of impulsive, they're the front of the pack, they're very driven by ego, and they are I was going to say something. No, I'm not going to say that. But anyway, so they like to kick action. But here we have the softening. So we have the polarity, which is Libra, which governs our higher self or our biggest self, and obviously relationships with others. So your Aries flavor has the natural bipolarism of Libra. And it's an interesting, because you're almost like, if you look for your rising sign, so your rising sign means your ascendant, so it's the front door, it's how people would perceive you, and it often is very indicative of our features. So it can be, and also you can, with Aries, you can have a tendency to be quite stubborn, and you can have issues with your head, so with your eyes and with your head, headaches, and it can be it's one of the chart that's kind of the Aries space from a physical point of view. But for you, it's really interesting because you've got Jupiter, and I'll talk about the 12th house. This planet here, this 4, is Jupiter, which is the planet of manifestation, very close to just before the moment you were born. Jupiter was right on the horizon, so just about to sink under. So it's quite interesting that you've got Jupiter there, and I'll explain that more. You've also got this is interesting, this little asteroid here is called Chiron, and it indicates for us the deepest wound that we can have, which if we transform, we can be of great guidance to others. So my question for you with Chiron would, because at the moment we've got a Chiron transit, so do you feel as if you have come through moved out of being hurt, or is this something that you're still working through?
There's probably a little bit of residue of some things, but I've been doing a lot of healing. Yeah. And like being a healer in Shamam, I'm, I can't avoid it. My beloved is a healer as well, so she's always picking me up, and she'll say, "Oh, that's a bit of a wound there. You need to look into." And it's like, I know, and so just lots and lots of healing, especially this year, have really shifted a lot.
So it's one of, when you say you're a healer, then that would make complete sense to me, because it's in your first house. So that's a great segue. I'll explain the houses really quickly and then we'll go around and do a little bit more. So the first house is your personality. It's your front door. So your personality, you're ruled by Aries with that Libra flavor. So it just means that you're a self-starter. It means that you're independent. It means you'll take the first step. It means that, you know, you're happy to, you've got some chutzpah to do stuff. It's just like boom. And the ruler, your ruler is Mars. So we always look for the ruler of the sign, and your Mars is down here in the third house in Cancer. And I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. But Mars is, this is also interesting because Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio as well. So Scorpio is now ruled by Pluto, which is here, but also Mars. So when I said to you this Mars retrograde, it's literally happening on the 30th, 31st of this month.
Wow.
It's like this knowledge had to come at this time, because you will be experiencing the Mars retrograde, and you'll have this extra set of tools in your arsenal as a healer to not only help yourself, but because you have such a big tribe, to help others. That's what we're here for, right? To help others. So first house is personality. Second house is our sense of security. It is the I have. So most people say money, and I go, yeah, but that's because you don't, you know, you're shallow as a puddle. It means, because money is security, and how secure we are is, you know, tends to be, illustrate, is how many possessions we have is often an indication of how insecure we feel. That's what I was trying to say. Those of us who are secure are just happy to, it's a different, you don't have specific planets in this area or aspects, and I'll explain aspects in a minute, but this is also your own resourcefulness, because possessions can be our own or collective. And so this is the house, which is sort of, if you want to put it really, really superficially and really simply, our own bank account. Our own challenges with our bank account. So the third house is our thoughts and our feelings, I think, or normally the normal, the traditional sign is Gemini, and you've got a bit of that Gemini flavor. You're almost like the perfect chart with this Aries rising. So thoughts and communication are in the third house. The IC is here. Here's your whakapapa, there's your granddad. Fourth house is roots, whānau, our relationship with Papa Tonaku, Mother Earth, our ancestry, our rootedness. And look where your granddad is. There he is there.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
You may even be like you could. Often I say the IC gives you a hint, if it's this close, that you're actually like another iteration of your granddad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was told that on Monday by someone. She looked at me and she said, "You are your granddad."
Well, there you go. You had two wahine say it now. No arguing with it. So then fifth house is creation and creative play, and normally ruled by Leo. So there's been a bit of a shift, and here yours is ruled by Virgo, and you've got a planet here, the planet Venus, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. The sixth house is kind of it's how we organize. It's our mind, body, soul. It's our planning. It's our service. And you have a planet here, which is the ruler of Scorpio. You have Pluto, and we'll talk about that a bit in a little bit. So these planets, the six realms under the horizon, are the physical expression that access to physical skills and challenges and gifts and that we have. It's energy that sits in our physicality. So when we pop over into the horizon, the seventh house is the first universal house, and it represents, and again, this is not what most people say, but then I think most of them are six, so or dumbed down, or the most astrologers, not most people, most Westerners, the Northern Hemisphere astrologers say it's a house of relationships. but if you take a deep view, we know that all relationships are a mirror of our relationship with ourself, the small I and the big I. So, yeah, this is the relationship of you and you, bigger you, universal you. And look at all this Scorpio energy with a little flavoring of Libra here.
Yeah.
Which is this, and I'm going to talk about, because you've got a 29th degree, and I'm obsessed, a bit obsessed with 29th degrees because they're so cool.
Oh, nice.
But so, and then here, then we go to the 8th house, which is the legacy house, which traditionally Scorpio rules, and it's the big legacy issues of sex, death, marriage, not so much marriage, sex, death, inheritance. It's the composting area of our universal selves, the stuff that we put together to leave a legacy.
I love that, composting. Yeah, that's very cool. I like the expression of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Scorpio is all about composting. You know, because you got to delve down deep and get into shadow and pull it all apart, and there's worms in there, and you know.
Oh yeah, I love it.
There's no. I love Scorpio. I really love the Scorpio energy, and so it's because of that ability to, you know, really intuit this deeper resonance of who we are.
Yeah. That's very much myself, my parents, and everyone. I was like, oh, everything has to be so deep with you. Why does it have to be so? I can't help myself. I'm sorry. It's just the way I do it.
Well, you need to say to them, I need to be deep.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing the composting of our whakapapa.
Yeah.
I'm multi-dimensional. I'm putting things together multi-dimensionally so you can have it easy.
Yeah. I love it. I will be having that one.
And you have 3. And you have to be deep, because in your 8th house, your moon is in Sagittarius. I'm going to talk about your manifesting power in a little bit. Neptune, the house of dreams, is in here. If you're an astral traveler, this will tell you why. Yeah, and
I do, like I said, I take people on the plant medicine journey. So what I see in the higher dimensions is pretty mind blowing. When I take someone on the journey, I also take the medicine. So it's and I don't need to always take the medicine to have these sort of incredible visions and insights. The funny thing is, when I sleep, I don't remember my dreams. I know I was having some hardcore dreams, but I can never remember them.
Really?
Times, yeah.
Do you wake yourself up, and do you have a notebook?
I sometimes I do, if I will note things down.
Yeah, because that's another way or just to say to yourself when you go to sleep, I want to be more lucid with my dreaming.
Yeah. And when I can remember my dreams, I'm able to sort of direct them quite well.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Lucid. Yeah, I mean, I would just you really have a skill for it. And your skill is actually very close to Rehua. So I don't know if you'll have the video, but it may be worthwhile just writing down Rehua, because that's the king star of our Māori universe. And your Neptune, your place of dreams, is right next to Rehua. So he guides you. And I would say there's a real influence there, a star influence. So they call it Antares, and it's like considered to be like a really malefic star, because the time, like I study the stars with our navigational mindset, because that's pretty much what we use the stars for, is navigation, a bit of crops, but not for personal stuff. So we don't have the same hang-ups as they did in the Northern Hemisphere around stars, which were, they basically looked at individuals, and if they were bad eggs, they, looked at where the star was, or good eggs. Jesus had, I think there was an eclipse of that involved Jupiter being really close, and there were some big stars when Jesus was born. So good or bad, there's malefic, but Antares is not considered to be a good influence.
Right.
But that's there. Oh, down here, Rehua is like considered to be our most sacred star. So I would start asking for that star knowledge.
Yes.
Stand on the whenua, find where Antares is. Generally, I think you can see, I've been seeing Antares. I'm in Auckland, sorry, I'm a different place to you. You can see it just after. You can see that star just after dusk on sunset.
Yes.
Orange. Yeah.
It's funny because there's a very dominant star I've been noticing around that time, and recently, yeah.
So start speaking to your ancestor.
Wonderful. Yeah, I will be
showing up in the physical for you to take note.
Yeah.
And then your moon in Sagittarius, so that's your emotional tide, the flavor. So you've got a manifesting moon, and it's a moving, shaking, having a fire moon. So the red indicates the fire. Sagittarius is fire. So you're a fiery character in your emotional intensity. Like passionate about what you're passionate about.
Oh yeah. I do. I get quite animated when I'm passionate about something. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's why, because you're a Sagittarius moon, which also means you're one of the clickies. You've got to be careful with the Sagittarius power, because you can manifest like that. As soon as you feel it, I'm feeling it, boom, it's going to happen. Yeah. Good or bad.
Yes.
You've got to keep your vibe high. I don't know, you know that. You know that.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. Yeah.
Because you can get real sick. You can.
Yep.
And the other thing to bear in mind is because the 8th house also governs other people's resources. So it actually is an amazing manifest. You've got some serious energy to be able to mobilize other people and share their resources with you. Generally, most of us just have a flavor, so our partner's sign, one of their key will be here if they share their resources with us, or our family. So and I always use Princess Diana as an example, because she had the Capricorn above her resources, which is why she was ruled by the British family.
Oh, right.
Yeah, her own resources were in Cancer. It's just so fascinating when you kind of get into it. The other thing is, I always, if you're really into feeling the vibe of someone else, Sagittarius and Scorpio, when you're if you're going to make love to someone, you want to have them to have a strong Scorpio or Sagittarius, because then you get that intergalactic, explosion.
Yeah.
So I don't know why people don't do astrology dating site, because I can tell someone, if you want to have rocking good, physical relations, go head for Scorpio and Sagittarius. But but maybe and also for yourself, because you've got your moon there. I don't know if you do tantric practice at all, but okay,
indeed.
There you go. I would know that's an indicator.
Yeah, I mean, the sexual energy is very, very important to me. I know how potent it is, and not just for myself, but with my beloved. It's most important. Her pleasure is very, very important to me. Yeah, her reaching her bliss and all of that sort of things, almost more important.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a really good reason for that, and that's because of the, just this beautiful energy that you have in the 8th house. And we are such a repressed society. We've got such hang-ups about sex. I mean, sexual energy is what created our universe. It's the most amazing energy that we just need to stop being so shy about.
I know, so agree. Yeah.
I got to point out this little node here, which is in the last degrees of in the later degrees of Scorpio. And this is your north node of your destiny. So you are meant to be a healer and to teach healing. Actually, I would say to teach, because your midheaven is in Capricorn. You're actually meant. This is, and particularly you've got Chiron over here in your first house, the wounded healer who transforms his own wounds to teach others. Your destiny is to heal. And there are 3 kinds of scorpions. There's the ones that scuttle around, and they tend to be into sex, drugs, and money. there are the eagle scorpions that are above everyone, and they're ruled by their will. They have an iron will. You cannot, and they sting you hard if you get in their way. And then there are the doves. The doves are the healers. They're the pure essence of their intensity is white light, which you told me came through.
Yes.
White light.
Yes. The first thing that came through.
not compost, not black, dark, wormy compost, which is where the lower scorpions in the bottom, they're always after somebody's money. I'm sounding so prejudiced, but it's not, it's the energy. But when you transform the Scorpio energy, when you transform, you're leaving a legacy. This is loss to transform it. And it's almost like we're so distanced from who we really are, because all of us have a natural ability to heal. We're all healers.
I agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
Breath is healing. An orgasm is healing.
Yep.
It's sleeping. Relaxing.
Oh God, yeah, I love sleep, especially at the moment. Just we're finally getting the 4-year-old to kind of sleep, and now getting my sleep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so different with rest.
So different. Oh, you have a 4-year-old. Oh, how beautiful!
Yeah, he's my stepson, my beloved son, and so he's a delightful child, but he's just got funny ideas at night at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He decides he wants to have a meltdown. So yeah.
I wonder if he's getting an ancestral tapping. Maybe you can help him with that.
Oh yeah, we have been. I hold a very calm, settled space for him. I don't. I let him know what's going on, but I also know he needs to get it out of the system. So I just let him get it out of his system, and I'll go and make a cup of tea and sit in bed while he's standing in my doorway screaming. It's like, just when you're ready, we can plonk you back into bed.
Take him outside and show him the stars.
Yes, I will.
Hey, who's speaking to you? Seriously.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. That's great advice.
Because the thing is that you'll connect him to that. Like, he won't know. He won't know it, obviously consciously, but there's something there that is. There's a reason why he's being woken.
Yes.
And it could be just as much as that. He's one of the third wave, and is really struggling with being the F down here and all of the density. So, and that's the only way he can communicate it at that time.
True. Yeah, we were told by a friend of ours that he goes up and out. He just keeps going up and out. So connect him with the stars would be nice.
Connect him, and if you sometime we could, I can ping you his chart if you give me his details, because so that he actually has. Because the more you reinforce in the conscious mind, and the more there's a choice, it's so helpful for particularly the third wave, because they're highly sensitive to vibration and sound and density, and people label them as autistic or Asperger's or just little shits.
Yep. I know, and I can see past all of that, like his way of trying to manage it. I definitely see through it. He's a delightful child, and just helping him sort of unpack that. But I love, connecting him onto the earth and having a look at the stars. He'll love that. He loves going outside.
Awesome. And auditory, because he's probably being, he's probably being bombarded by high frequency sound, and it's really, so I don't know about earplugs, but I have some real psychic, highly attuned third wave, young friends who sleep with earplugs so that they are not getting that extra sensory overload.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, ninth house is the systems, beliefs, teaching, and so you've got Capricorn here, so you are meant to teach at systems at a grand level. And that flips into your highest expression, 25 degrees of Capricorn. So did you have a hard time between 2019 and 20? Did you have some struggles?
Oh, yeah. 2019, yes, indeed. Yeah, I was kind of coming out of my second marriage, and that's where I was like, right, you're the common denominator here, sort your shit out. And so I kind of went into the hermitage state, 8 months of straightening myself out. Yeah.
But this is the reason why is because with the rest of the world, I mean, we're sharing the struggles of the pandemic, but Saturn was in Capricorn, and it's called a Saturn return. And anyone who's got a strong Saturn point got kicked up the ass. That's the way to say it, sorry.
Yeah.
And really kicked hard. It's like a Saturn, and yours is naturally kind of, it came right into here, and you were kicked to learn the lesson, to transform down there. It's not like you're not getting, there's always the beauty of emerging through a challenge and seeing what you are inviting. As I'm not talking to somebody who's looking for the outside to show them what's inside.
Oh yeah. I always it was a good, I mean, really it was a perfect time, because it really did force me to have to reflect on myself without looking at anyone else for that reflection.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're meant to teach, and you're meant to teach systems. You have an incredible system. I'm so excited to go through and feel it. And that's a real earth power. So earthing is grounding is big for you, and you told me you're shaman as well. And just let me look. I got to look at. Oh yeah. So yeah, and so then we come up to the 10th house, which is your workspace or your public space, which is normally ruled by Capricorn, but yours is Aquarius. And right now we've got Saturn, the planet of limits and loss, was transiting over your 10th house. So your work is always going to be slightly quirky and kind of, like Aquarians lead the collective consciousness. And they are all about science and technology and about kind of distribution, and they are very left field, and they are naturally left field. And our country, Aotearoa, is ruled by Aquarius, not Capricorn, which is what the Northern Hemisphere say, because they use the date the treaty was signed. And we say there were thousands of years of occupation before you fellas showed up. So thank you very much. We'll have Aquarius, and we know this because we have Rongoa, the earthquakes. Uranus, here's Uranus over here, rules earth events. Aotearoa has earth events because of Uranus. We're ruled by Uranus. So this Aquarius, and I often find that in people when I read their charts here in Aotearoa, there's massive Aquarian, or there's really strong Uranus placements, because we're attracted as souls to this area, and our challenge is to own the power within, otherwise we explode and have an earthquake. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh,
so that's why, because you decided that you were going to now I've gone and lost your, are you still here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I lost you for a moment on my screen. Okay, Pisces is the last star realm. So when I didn't explain signs of star realms, they're a whole lot of stars that are grouped into a sign.
Yes.
But they're big star realms, and then behind that there's other big star realms. So Pisces is the last house in the zodiac, and it's kind of like has all the space dust of all the other signs kind of in that within that realm. So Pisces rules friendships for you, groups, associations. It is normally 11th house is normally ruled by Aquarius, but yours is ruled by Pisces. And then you have Aries in your 12th house, which I've never seen that Aries 12th house before. So it's really interesting, because this is so the 12th house is basically the same as source, or the weight of the realm, or your unconscious. And so you've got this manifesting, Jupiter's here, you've got this manifesting power that is buried away in your 12th house. So you look at, so Jupiter normally rules Sagittarius, and it's the ruler, and it's also a co-ruler of Pisces. So it's in your case, because you have over here a Sagittarius moon, you also want to look at the relationship over here with Jupiter, and see there's a nice blue line. This is called an aspect. So essentially, or it's a trine, and a trine means just a natural flow. So if generally, often people who've got a planet buried away in the 12th house, they won't, it's like a skill that they don't know, or they'll be psychic but they don't know it, or they if your sun is buried away, it's like you can't claim the full power of who you are easily unless you slow your brain down, meditate, self-hypnosis. The more you do that, the more your manifesting power will come up and expand. But for you, you can actually use your emotions, and it was really interesting when you said to me use conversational hypnosis, because I was just, this is backed up by this. Like you don't need to, do the deep dive, because you've got this natural ability actually just to bring through your manifesting power yourself just by having a convo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does happen a lot in my work. Being a mystic, I basically straighten people's ideas out with sort of just dropping bombs on their ego, but not to cause any harm. But people will often just sit there and go, "Oh my God, that's so true. I've never thought of it like that before." And I just sort of straighten things out with the conversation, and I'm not giving them advice. I don't like giving advice. I just share. And sort of, if it lands, it lands, and
if it doesn't, then Kate's a pie. That's a really great thing about having Aries as your first house and as your rising sign and as your 12th house, because you don't need to be too deep. Like your intensity is over here in these other realms, in relationships and in your relationship with you and who you're the small you and the big you. And around some of this lost to transform space, you've got really, some good chunky energy and some good chunky energetic challenges. But when it comes to delving into your unconscious mind, or helping others with their unconscious mind, or coming into your manifesting power, it's pretty easy. It's just a natural sort of a flow, as you said, conversational. You can manifest conversationally. And this little asteroid, it's one of the asteroids is Ceres, which is kind of our nurturing motherly instinct. And for that, it's kind of like you just have this natural ability to nurture. And if you fall out of touch with that, you really just need to have a very gentle conversation with your eyes closed, and it just comes out.
Yeah, I feel like I've been raising children for 14 years. Well, little children, because I've been married twice, and then this relationship with these more little children. And we've got a 4-year-old, and I came into his life when he was 1. In the relationship before that, there was a little 5-year-old girl, 6-year-old girl, so helping raise her. And then prior to that, my 2 children were little, up to, when I got into the second relationship, second marriage, my son was only 4. So it just feels like raising little children forever. But there's a part of me that does enjoy it, and I enjoy it for their sake. I want to see them be whole within themselves.
And I think probably that's why they are with you, and that's why you've attracted that, because it's this natural beauty and gift that you have that is unconscious until you decide that it's conscious. But you are a teacher, and you are a healer, and you are a transformer, and you are here to provide light for others to follow, and that's why.
Oh, beautiful.
There's no hiding when you see your chart. Yeah. So just questions around the houses, and then I'll talk to you about some of the planets and the planetary influences. I know I've hit you with so much information, physical underneath, universal over top. You've got the whole heavens in you. Is there anything that's come through that
really interesting? Because when I look at it, I have managed to manifest really well in my life, but probably not in ways that I've wanted. But because I was a gyp stopper, I was an interior plasterer for 27 years, and I was staring at walls and ceilings for all that time. It drove me
High
nuts.
on glue?
Oh my
No.
God. It was insanity. And I went insane, and I manifested things and bank account and had the $1 million home and the trophy wife and all that. It was miserable.
Yeah.
Now I feel I'm in my soul purpose, and only full time for the last sort of 12 months to 18 months.
Yeah.
And we are now seeing, because we've been laying down foundations and building, and it's been a little bit of a struggle, but now this unfolding of we're teaching a number of courses of what we do, and the manifesting of finance, and that is now beginning to sort of pick up. And I don't know, like looking at as you said, the 12th house, does that mean sort of, does that correspond to things that kind of come later in life, or is that?
Well, everything comes later in life unless you've had really evolved parents.
Yeah.
You got to do all the healing for all the lines. So with manifesting, I've written a book called Super Manifestor, and it's like how to manifest, and I'm a bit of a money manifester. But for for collective causes, I can just millions of dollars flows. But when I'm trying to do it for myself, I've got the same challenges as everyone else, and I think we all have those. To tell you the truth, it's like, it's particularly spiritual people, it's like, I'll just do it for free. I can't, I can't charge for this. So
it's a tough gig. Yeah.
It is a tough gig, but yours it's not later in life, because your later in life is ruled by being a teacher of systems. And so but if you have a particular goal and a desire which is constantly expanding, it may help you to get a bit deeper than just the conversational. It may really help you to delve deep, and I do this real belief process, which is conscious mind, as well as a deep meditation for a short period of time, where I actually physically go back in the past and change the past.
Yes.
Or see it from a new perspective, because we all have these programs from our parents and our tribes and our ancestors that we have to keep working on them. So yours is just, I just say to you, if you're trying to manifest something and it's not showing up straight away, deepen your brainwaves into Delta.
Beautiful.
Put your timer on for 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes. I love Tesla's frequencies. 369.
Yes.
We might as well use the divine frequency, mix it up but go deep, so that you get in, and you can really because your real power of manifestation is hidden quite deeply in your unconscious.
Okay, that makes sense. Perfect.
And you can also use your emotions, though. Don't forget about that, because like if you're really feeling it, like you've got this enhanced ability with 18 degrees of Sagittarius, you've actually got you can get quite close. So Decode, which is the heart of manifesting, 27 degrees of Sagittarius, always keep the 20th and the 21st of December, keep a little time for wānanga to set your manifesting for the next year.
Okay, wonderful. You remember my birthday is on the 21st, so
of December.
So around the 21st of December, that's the time to start setting those intentions for the next year.
It's just because there's this, so it's the degree of Sagittarius is 27 degrees around the 20th or the 21st of December. So that's a natural time where basically the whole Galactic Council just opens the door to the cosmos, if you're paying attention. So you can pretty much seed anything there at a very much deeper level. But because if you look at yours, 18 degrees, you're pretty close to Decode. So the black hole 27 degrees of Sagittarius, biggest black hole of the universe, our plug is Decode.
Huh. Okay.
It's the realm of nothingness and everythingness.
Yes.
You're pretty close to that. So and the thing is, you're pretty close with your emotions. So I would, you've got this kind of gift to be able to really use your emotions for manifesting.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's like, if you're going to seed something, you got to really feel it.
Yeah.
And if you don't really feel it, then do some more work.
Yeah.
And get real clear in the visualization of what you want, and be very clear with your, the goals around you, present now, and positive.
Yes.
Yeah. And then seed the modi, I always say. So it's like saying, you got to really use love. You got to really use gratitude to make it.
Gratitude works amazing for me. If I go into gratitude, it just opens up doors of abundance. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best. Well, I actually think love, Aroha is pretty much, the gratitude is for presence. Aroha is for alchemy.
Yeah, Beth, you get it. Yeah.
But the thing is, you've got to be present, fully present in all those now moments, and that's where gratitude is so useful. But I actually think that I'm really very convinced that Aroha is the is the love potion that joins everything.
Beautiful. Love it.
Or a bit of sex. You got a fair bit.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a colleague who likes to manifest when she has an orgasm. I don't even know how you could get your mind. I'm like,
well, I've looked into that, and there's something to it where they say, when you're about to reach that climax, then you bring into your field those things that you're wanting to manifest. Yes, I've certainly heard of people practicing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you've just got a little gift over here, and a little north node that says it's your destiny to use this power and leave a legacy from your teaching. So maybe you could just test it out for us.
Yeah.
Mere mortals. I'm like, I just could not do that. Like, the thought of switching over from I'm receiving to I'm creating it. That's just man.
It's so interesting.
So that you've got to make the most of these energies when you consciously know them.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll whip through. So about Chiron in the first house. The other really awesome thing, I don't think we've hit the current asteroid Chiron is here. Oh yes, see, there it is there. And it's very slow transit. So when it gets right down to there, like, you are coming into this period where you can really own all of your healing and help others. So you're going to really feel it. If you hadn't, so the great thing about Aries, Chiron and Aries, is it's like someone can stab you and you just go, oh yeah, okay, I've been stabbed, and you carry it, you get up and walk away. Like, we don't take it too seriously. If you have Chiron and Pisces, somebody says my husband has it. If I say anything to him, I'll say like this tiny throwaway comment, and man, you think it's like the roof comes down. And he's Scorpio rising, so he just goes to war, and it's like, whoa, bro! It was just the tiniest comment. So that's Chiron in Pisces. Chiron and Taurus is like a physical challenge, or people always stealing your money. But it's awesome. Aries we are so lucky. Stab me in the chest, and as long as you don't take out my heart, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's a brilliant placement to have so close to you, because it means you have natural ability to help others to get over. You said it yourself. You said you're not precious.
Yeah.
That's because of your Chiron, and you're so precious because you're not precious.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so where are we going? So first, second, and then I'll do this line. So your Mars is in Cancer. Now, can you just tell me about like starting a project? Like, how would that roll out for you?
Starting a project? Yeah. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to kick it off. Once I start, though, I'm away, and would I say procrastinator? Sometimes I'd probably allow a little bit of procrastination, and it could be from a little bit of doubt, or I'm happy to create and get into it and create something. Like we teach vibrational energy medicine course. We needed a manual for it. I sat down and just wrote the manual. No problem. I'm happy to do that. Getting it out to people makes me feel wrong. I just don't have. I can put anything out, and it's almost like it just goes over the top of everyone's head. And that's why I always say to Debbie, "You've got this incredible ability to say, hey, we've got a course going. Next minute, it's full." If I'd done it, it wouldn't have happened. But I can create the course, and she lets me create the course, and she puts it out there, and it works beautifully.
Wow.
So I think it's interesting. If someone sits with me, they'll have a wonderful session. But me trying to convince someone to come and sit with me, it doesn't work.
So it's a little bit about Mars and Cancer. So Mars is a real fire kicker, and it's the ruler of Aries, and it's the ruler of the traditional ruler of Scorpio. And being in Cancer is like sticking a brilliant firecracker into a large rock pool. It's just not it's a challenge. Mars and Cancer is like, it's like you want to move, but you're like literally stuck in quicksand.
Yeah.
And so, but you're actually, again, you're lucky because you've got your Mars, which is 2 degrees. So I haven't explained at the beginning of the sign, if you have a 0 degrees to about 4 degrees, that is the pure essence of the sign. Cancer being rootedness, Cancer being whakapapa, Cancer being family, Cancer being homeland. So you've got that in Mars, and it may be part of the reason why you've got this reticence about coming into your tribal lineage, because of like you've got this sort of mover and shaker energy in the Aries realm, and yet in Cancer you kind of just like, oh, I don't know where I am, who are these people, like, oh, can I stand up, am I ready to stand up, can I find my voice? But I just got to encourage you to do it, because with your placement of Taurus and Gemini, Mars at the moment is in Gemini and about to retrograde into it. So you may find this is a bit more of a challenge even still. But your second house, which is your own resources, which is your own security, which is your own possessions, is ruled by your voice, and it's ruled by those things that you love. So it is a natural challenge that you have. Your Mars being, it's kind of like it's like, if I had a metaphor, it's like you're peeking as a little boy between the legs of these ancestors and worried to come out.
Right. Yeah.
And that is, you've got this square over here, which is Venus, what you love, and then there's another challenge with Pluto here, which is the ruler of Scorpio. So but you have the support. So with the way you look at it, if you're stuck and doubting, you can ask yourself, how am I advancing the collective? By speaking up.
Okay.
And am I being innovative? Am I doing something that's original? And is it for the collective? Am I advancing the collective? Am I advancing relationships by doing this? And if you are, then that's a red light for you to be able to move your Mars out of being stuck or out of wanting to shy away. Sure. Because, if you step into this, really get into this space here, because it is this time of your life. You're a healer who can transform. It's your destiny to heal and to be that dove healer. You have these powers to dream big into the heart of our galaxy and to manifest with your powerful emotions, so you can step into this role as a leader of systems and as a teacher of systems. And if you do that, it's like you elevate. It's like you elevate out of the doubt
Yeah.
because you're stepping into your destiny. This is your destiny, to be the dove healer.
Lovely.
No pressure.
Yeah. I have no problem with pressure. It's fine. Yeah, it always seem to. I could sit there and say I don't like the pressure, but there is a part of me that absolutely it does move me along.
Good. And then you don't forget Poa. Here he is. Talk to him every single time. Say, sit quietly, have a conversation, close your eyes. Poa, what do I do? Poa, how do I stand tall? How do I embody more of who you were? He's there. He's right on your backbone.
Yeah.
Right on your backbone, waiting to be asked.
Beautiful.
And you can use him to fire up your energy here. So these are pure powers. So your Mars is pure Cancer, which is a little bit of a challenge. You can be stuck from time to time and have doubts. Yeah. And your Saturn is, but this one will say, your Poa, this is why you've got to talk to him.
Yeah.
He's 2 degrees of Leo. Now that's a bit of a different space. Leos are the ultimate managers and the ultimate authorities, and they love to perform, and they love to be on stage, and they love people to pat their back. So if you can step into that power and remember that, then you can kind of overcome where, feeling doubtful or feeling like you should, being shy.
Yes. And
this is why, so your IC 25 degrees of Cancer is here. This is all of your ancestors who sit in this kind of tribal space. And your granddad is just on the other side. So he's leading the pack. That's why you got to talk to him, because he'll lead you out of being stuck over here.
Yeah.
And quite possibly in a past life, you might have, maybe it's because of his challenge. Maybe he was, you've come to test out what it means to lead in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel that actually. Yeah, I don't like to sort of lead with any sort of. I like it to be as natural as possible. If someone, one thing I always say is, what is it that leaders have? And well, they have followers. And that's the thing. Is that's what defines a leader, is people that want to follow. Not that someone that says you must follow me. That's not a leader. That's someone that's being like a that's a sort of dictatorship. I'm certainly for that. I'm not interested in that sort of. And my grandfather, he was regarded as the rangatira, even though he was not the type of man that would want to claim that. He was just him. He was just super chilled. And I admire that about him, and that's why people saw him as a leader. That's how they saw him. He just saw him as himself. Yeah.
I think it's really important that your work, and I think that you have an enormous, being a woman who's spent her entire life serving the hapu. Your workspace, your 4th house with Saturn in it, in Leo, means you are meant to lead in our, like what the work you're doing on the land in Kaikoura, and you're it's almost like you're being called back to that, and I'm probably here telling you that because your ancestors are speaking through me, and that's why you've sought me out, and uncovering your rootedness and your whakapapa and your maru kaitatia is invaluable work that you can do. And to lead our people through healing, because there's so many layers of hurt and trauma to unpack.
Yeah, so I agree. And I have been very tentative with it, as soon as when I've been to some of the hui and that, and I've been there and watched what when
how your cousins are behaving.
The German there, and they just rip them to shreds. I'm like, oh my god, fuck this.
Well, I'll hook you up with some of the good ones, because
Oh my God, this guy's just like, he's trying to help. And I love the guy, but he's got his own things and he does beautiful work and yeah, everyone has their thing. But when I look at the politics, I'm very funny about politics, and I kind of look at it all, and it just, for me, it's like some of these politics aren't very polite.
Yeah. So there's a space like, and it is one of the, like our people have been through so much colonization and disconnection, and also there's a lot, so, I mean, I work heaps with your hapu. I've been there with them for like 2 years because there's been lockdown after lockdown and with my other hat on doing some strategy work. And, just being there, like, Kaikoura is coming into some vibrancy after, Papatōnuku and the Rongoa is shaking it up, and for the more great people who are engaging back in that space and leading. Yeah, that's why, all of these gifts to leave a legacy, this is an area where you really can leave a legacy.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, particularly with the trauma work, because people don't understand how easy it is actually to let go of trauma when you decide to do it and stop blaming other people.
Oh yeah, it's super easy, and that's, you're so right there. It's the illusion of it being difficult. So no, you're telling yourself it's difficult. It's actually not that hard.
Well, it's far easier to blame other people and be angry with them.
Yeah, and all that does is you give your power away to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at this. I just want to draw your attention to this particular star there called Regulus, and it's a really powerful leader. And in my logo, it's the eye of those that I've got the colours of Regulus, and Hini Tākaroa is my star. And I got to look at, because Hini Tākaroa Sirius is in your third house, and there's also stars around your Mars as well. And Hini Tākaroa is a big star for us, just as Regulus is. All these big stars give us, they're like our star ancestors. It's where our, people say only some people are star seeds, and I'm like, bollocks. We all have star lineage. It's just we have to want to embody it.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. So the other thing we're going over here to Venus. Now you've got this is your lovingness, and how you love is actually very close to the closest black hole called Messier 87 or Virgo A. So that's between two great big stars in Virgo and in Libra. 29 degrees of Virgo, and so in it's quite interesting. So the fifth house is kind of ability to create, and Virgo is the sign which is all about organization and analyzing and making plans and daily routines. And so your love is a very, it's a very daily, it has that daily flavor. It's very, it's very present, if you're feeling it. But it's also in the fifth house. It means that this is why young children gravitate towards you.
Yes.
And you've got Virgo, that influence of Venus, which is the only female planet. And Virgo represents the virgin. It's that pure essence of service. And so you've got Venus there. So you're a loving, dedicated person on the day low. But you also have this manifesting period. I'm going to explain about how this works with the transit. So when the rest of we just come through, we're in this late degrees of Libra now. So this is the season of Virgo for the rest of the world, is a time where you really need to work on love, self-love, and love of others, and create with love, because you get hints with whatever's happening with these transits, not so much with but just the periods of time. Like, you're basically got the zodiac, the normal zodiac here, but you can tap into this energy for each of the months, because you've got the 12 months of the year, and you can tap into that energy. But because you've got this planet of love, so that's when Virgo season is late August through to late September, manifesting with love. And then we come into Libra, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this, but then, I just wanted to explain this other flavor. So when it comes into just before your birthday and the whole season of Scorpio, which starts on the 23rd of October, really step into your healing and transformation power. Think about what it is. Am I fulfilling my destiny? Am I being inventive with my healing? How is my communication of, that's actually in Libra, your Mercury, but you think about this power in these times. When you get into the manifesting period of the year, how are you dreaming? How are you using your emotions to seed your manifestations? When it comes to Christmas and around into early January, what are you doing to teach? How are you actually, bringing this to bear? You've got natural powers there. When we come into February, this is the period, what work are you doing with groups? It's a good time to, plan seminars or to wānanga, hang out with mates, go to festivals, go to Electric Avenue. In Pisces season, which is, again, the groups thing, bring in the groups. These are great times to be in the public and to connect with others, and because they're not aspected with other planets. Sure. Make the most of all this time of next year. It's really big next year, the energy of next year.
Right, so that's February and March.
In March, yeah. But also, and then you've got your manifesting time. You need to manifest up shit. Particularly next year, because we've got a shift of the moon's nodes to Aries and Libra. Next year is a big year for Aries, massive.
Right.
Hugely massive, your rising sign. And because we've got the Mars retrograde, which is going back, your Mars is going to go back. This is a time of introspection in Mars retrograde. But next year you want to be booming. You want to be manifesting up from the, beginning March 21 when the zodiac starts. You want to be like out there. Events. This is the time of events.
Sure.
As we come, this time is more around thinking. When Gemini, Cancer, so in the middle of winter, bloody go on a wānanga for a month. Don't even write a book. Hibernate.
Okay. What month?
Come out. Oh, the normal seasons, I explained the houses.
Yes.
Vision, own resources, thoughts on communication.
Yeah.
When the rest of the world when we start with next year with April, then you're thinking about your vision. When we come into Taurus season or Matariki, or, which is April, May, you are thinking about resources. This is when you hibernate.
Okay.
This is when you would go to a whānau marukai tamatia wānanga and stand up, and everyone's going to say, "Hey, you're your granddad."
Yes.
So that's the flavour with the houses. You maximise what you can. You'll probably have to watch this recording again.
I get it. Yeah. I was just thinking that too. I was like, right, okay, I definitely need to get back over that. It's wonderful.
Yeah, well, there's a lot in that, and I really have completely given you the entire study of the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
So we were back with Venus, and I've got to talk about Pluto. Can you tell me? So Pluto is the planet that strips away, makes bare, causes loss. So in the sixth house, that would normally be loss that occurred in the day and in service. Has that been your experience, that you have been challenged in workplaces, challenged in day situations?
Oh, yeah. In regards to finances or and that sort of thing as well?
Well, have there been, because with a Pluto challenge there, it's like, it's almost like in serving others, you may have caused loss so that you could learn a bit more. You might have had pain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've experienced a lot of loss where I've built something up and then it's just gone. When the earthquake happened in Christchurch, it was I'd done a lot of hard work, built all this up and had a wonderful home, and then it sort of went sideways. A lot of it was taken by the government, unfortunately.
Was it?
Yeah, well, they did the payout. We were red zoned, and then we got our house was fine, and it was a built up area of land, which was a new subdivision, and they said you've got to go, and it's like, well, there's nothing wrong with our house or the land, and they said here's the amount we're giving you, and I said, well, that's at least 250,000 short for us to rebuild what we've got, and they said we'll take it or leave it. So it was like a real kick in the pants. I wasn't happy with that. Also, my wife at the time also was spending money behind my back.
So I was going to ask you about that because your Pluto is in Libra, and so Libra is generally partnership. So that loss would come through partnerships, but it would affect you in a day-to-day, or if it would affect you in the service area, as opposed to like if you have Pluto in marriage, it's almost like partnerships are really the source of your greatest loss, whereas yours is, with Pluto being in the 6th house, it's much more, it's the pain that occurs it's a daily pain, and it might last for quite a while that for you to be able to transform. I mean, I'm one that will certainly sacrifice for relationships, and I'll bear the brunt of it and kind of be reluctantly happy about it, if that makes sense. It's very strange. I will my partner's very good at reminding me to think, well, how are you feeling about what you're I see you doing beautiful things, but don't do it to your detriment. And I also wonder if you have a tendency to, to, as you said, to actually favour the desires of others, which would see this is basically your only opposition. You're quite lucky. Some of us have a whole charts full of opposition. But there's an opposition between what you do on the daily and loss that has been sustained in relationships and how you manifest. So it's like those previous marriages or previous partnerships or previous losses, it's almost like they're kind of like a secret enemy over here, because you might even, like you said, you'd manifested this incredible, dream desire, and you got to keep doing that. You have to keep doing that, but make it aligned with this midheaven. Yes. And make it aligned with being a healer, and make it aligned, with who your ability to dream and to feel, and make it aligned with being able to help others to heal themselves, and and come into your tribal space. Whereas if you're doing it over here for something that isn't really your dream or your desire, or you're trying to fulfill somebody else's desire, then it probably is going to be more challenging. So you got to just you have to be really true to yourself always.
That's what my partner always says, just to be true to you.
Totally. I mean, look at your chart. You have so much incredible energy, like so much, and granddad, and the stellium. I just got to talk really. So Mercury is the house of communication, so that's your voice. 29th degree is a little bit of a challenge, because 29th degree of Libra is like, so you're thinking about that relationship between you and you, right? And you and others. The 29th degree is just about to tip over to Scorpio. So it's like you've learned everything about relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and lots of the ugly.
Yes.
And you're tipping it over into being able to transform and leave a legacy. But it's an Antarctic degree. So the 29th degree is like the most karmic of all it's like you get every single karmic lesson over and over and over and over. And it's like, how the hell do I get out of this and elevate?
Wow.
And you've got, yes, this challenge around loss and limits and lessons affecting your ability to speak and be brave and clear and come into your power as a healer. But that's where you got to remember, you're innovative and you have a desire and a destiny to be a healer, and you've just got to transform that little Mercury and not find your voice, talk to Poa, your granddad,
Yes.
push past feeling stuck, come into how you feel deeply and strongly, and make this power of manifesting rock so you can teach and leave a legacy. See how it all works?
Yeah. That all makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I mean, we are more than anything, I love doing the healing work, but I love to teach it. I love to teach people to heal themselves and heal their partner and their family and their friend, the people around them. It's like, it's not enough for me to heal anyone. It's like people need to have the skills so that they can just heal those people that are closest to them.
Yeah. And mostly themselves, because if everyone took responsible for their own baggage and their own light, mostly, if they claimed their light, because the baggage, we all know about that. But if we all stepped into our light selves and stopped trying to get other people to do our stuff, or stop holding other people out as the authority. But you, of anyone, has to own that space with your voice. Like you have to keep going, even if you feel stuck, even if you feel like you don't quite have it, and you've just got to be the light.
Yeah.
You got to be the light.
I was taking someone on a healing journey yesterday, and at the end, or she said she had in a previous life we had sort of worked together, and she said, and I was doing a healing on her using all these different tools, and she said, you didn't used to do it like that. You did it with your voice and with a feather, and that was it. She said, you've got all these tools, you're trying to hide your voice. I can see it. And she was so onto it. I was like, I know.
Saddanta, I don't do healings any longer. I am a really good healer, and I tone, but I don't do it because people get about a week's benefit, whereas if they learn the skills and they learn to honour themselves and to love themselves, they transform. So I won't do one, except for, like I do readings with people who I am drawn to do those readings with, because it's their time to come forward. But I won't do healing. I won't do one-on-one hypnosis. I'll do, and I teach. That I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I say that. I'm not a coach. I'm not, I'll help coach you with the teaching, but you have to get in there and do your work yourself, because if we don't do that, people get dependent on us, and they're lazy little mofos.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. I've said that to people numerous times. We were sitting there and I'm like, look, I could do some QFT on you right now, but what I want is for you to do the work. I want you to heal yourself. I want you to empower yourself.
And I go, couldn't you just do it for me? But just don't forget about this.
Yes.
The teacher, the philosopher, drawing up this ancestral lineage, star lineage, just you're meant to.
I get energized by it. It brings me into my bliss.
Yeah. So if you can drop one-on-one, start to ease it off, teach your system, put your effort into that.
Yeah.
You were saying that you were doing some training of the trainer. That's perfect. Keep doing that. Keep going along. Get off the tools.
It was when I was plastering. I was always saying, can't wait to get off the tools. I employed some guys. Oh my God, they put me back on the tools. I'm like, you guys can go. I'll do it.
Because that's because they weren't the tools that you were supposed to be on. You were supposed to be up in this, in this realm.
Yeah.
And there's some more deep work to uncover all of this and to make sense of it for you. And it's honestly, it's the system of astrology. It's so, when you get into it, if you're you know, you got to learn the whole system, all of the degrees, and then, you know, start to make sense of it. But as soon as you ask, literally go outside, and that's where we started. Go and talk to your granddad.
Yeah.
Eddie. Go and talk to Eddie and ask for this to come in, ask for your stars to come in. It's just gonna start to flood. Yeah.
I feel that. I really do.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? And then I'll.
Oh,
He's like,
nailed it on the head. It's I always felt my whole life I was meant to do this sort of work. I just couldn't see how I was going to get there. But the funny thing is, while I was plastering and staring at walls, I then started educating myself by listening to audiobooks for 8 hours a day, every day, and
wow.
quantum physics and healing and hypnosis and everything. I just got educated while I was doing that. And
wow.
and so that was taking the opportunity. I couldn't have learnt that and got paid at the same time any other way. So it was perfect. Yeah,
well, you could have, but you know that you're speaking with this limiter, your hidden enemy. You could have, but but you went the longer way so that you could.
I'd like to do that.
So you could learn the ins and outs of healing, so you could teach it to others.
Yeah, and I don't regret a thing. Everything has made me who I need to be today, and it's just lovely that now the way we're teaching more of what we do, and it feels like since we started teaching that all of a sudden my grandfather's energies come back in, and it's like, okay, this is interesting. And then looking into, you know, feeling pulled towards my whakapapa more, and even just this weekend it was so nice that Debbie said, I think we need to go to Kaikoura. I think we've got some work on the land to do up there. And I was like, so true, I can feel it. And so I'm beautifully supported. Yeah
Don't, for the next, with Mars in retrograde, which hangs around till January, it's a really good time to plan and to write and to, you know, to do more of that reflective work, because I mean, you've got quite a lot of energy that will happen up to kind of Christmases from the point of, you know, the drive, but you may find just, you know, Mars retrograding basically slows down things, and meeting new people in that time, you want to, you know, not move. It's not a time to get into partnerships or sign deals or to make significant changes. It's a time to really process the big energy within.
Yes. Okay.
Because when it's a huge shift. We've got a big Scorpio eclipse that's coming, and we have some like February, March as of next year is just a little bit of April is just a really good time to, as you know, like to plan some big events and work towards them if you're launching something. Around that next year.
Around then, yeah.
Any last questions? And then we've had a good.
Yeah, that's been amazing. Thank you so much. Very insightful. I've got a lot to process and learn as well. It's very interesting. It comes up very, very well. And even just looking at the chart, there's something about it that it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially taking me through it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. All right. Well, I will end that, and then we can just have a few. We have a wee moment to finish up. Is it stop? Right. I don't know if it's stop the share. I'm not. Here we go, and